Hey guys, we have come now to the story of Isaac, which is one of the most amazing and exciting stories in the Bible. So I hope that this is going to help you, whoever is teaching this lesson on Friday night. Um, you find the text in Genesis 21 and 22. I encourage you to read that before you go to the manual. Make sure you get the narrative right. Um, Specifically in chapter 22, there are some details. So before I go into the actual teaching of the lesson, there are three concepts I want to clear out for you, um, which I believe is going to help you teach this properly. The first concept is the concept of the burnt offering. Now, the burnt offering is a significant part of the covenant that God is making with people in the Old Testament. The first instant where burnt offering is mentioned is in Genesis 8, whenever Noah comes off the ark and he offers to God burnt offerings. All sorts of animals, they're offered to God. Burnt offering um, is an offering that is brought personally by a person in a desire to restore the relationship between that person and God. So that's the whole purpose. Um, that the animal is sacrificed. The animal is drained of blood. First of all, the blood is sprinkled around the altar. You find these details in Leviticus chapter 1 to chapter 7. So the blood is sprinkled around the altar, and the animal without the skin, the animal is washed, cleaned, the intestines taken out, and the whole animal is burnt, consumed to completion. There is nothing left from the animal. The skin is used as a payment given to the priest, but the whole offering is burned before God as a sweet aroma. So this is significant because when God calls Abraham and he says to Abraham, I want you to bring your son Isaac as a burnt offering, that is significant. So from the start, we know that God is requiring Abraham to bring Isaac as a sacrifice uh, to, to reconnect the relationship between Abraham and God. Um, this is the reason why, now going back to, this is not part of your teaching, but going back to Cain and Abel, this is one of the reasons why God looked at Cain's heart and said, your heart is not right, there's sin there, because Cain tried to offer a food offering before he was offering a burnt offering. So the right order is, the food offering is an offering of worship and as a gift to God. So what Cain did, he didn't get his relationship right with God and went straight away to worship God with sin in his heart, and God was not happy about that. So this whole idea of the burnt offering is very significant. If you go to Leviticus 1 to 7, you'll find that there are different types of burnt offerings. There's a sin offering, there's a guilt offering, there's a cleansing burnt offering. So the burnt offering is a significant part of the Mosaic covenant. That when God establishes the law with Moses later, uh, but here in the case of Isaac, God is requiring Abraham to bring Isaac as a burnt offering. Significant concept. So you need to understand in your mind, as you teach this, that God is requiring Isaac as a sacrifice for Abraham's sins, as a substitute for Abraham's life, as a sacrifice to restore the relationship between Abraham and God. But we later on we find out that actually God is not involved in child sacrifice. God is not involved in the practices of pagan people. That God is just testing Abraham in order to prove that his faith is strong, and then God provides a substitute. God provides a ram for the burnt offering. There were three types of animals, if you go back to Leviticus, that were allowed to be offered as a burnt offering: a bull, or some sort of cattle from herd, some sort of sheep, lamb, or ram, or ewe, or birds like doves, for those that were poor. Mary, the mother of Jesus, and Joseph, when they came to redeem the firstborn, which was a burnt offering. We're going to talk about that in a minute. They couldn't pay for a lamb or a bull, or they only had money for doves, and that's what they offered as burnt offerings. So that's the first concept, burnt offering. The second concept is this idea of redemption. Um, the reason why God requires Isaac is also because he's looking to the future. He's in a sense looking to the future through Moses and then to Jesus. And in the Mosaic law we find that God is requiring every family to offer a burnt offering for the redemption of the firstborn. So in a sense, God is preparing the way to bring about this law. Then we find Mary and Joseph redeeming their firstborn whenever they come to circumcise Jesus in the temple, and they offered the burnt offering for Jesus. So now we have this amazing process where God is redeeming Isaac by providing lamb. The third concept, which I find is just mind blowing, is that Mount Moriah is the same as the Temple Mount. 1,000 years later, after Abraham, David buys the Temple Mount, where he offers a burnt offering, and this is where Solomon builds the temple. It is the most contested temple in a mount in the world, Mount Moriah, where the Arabs say this is where Abraham offered Isaac. The Bible says that Abraham offered, the Arabs believe that Abraham offered Ishmael, while we believe in the Bible, God says Abraham offered Isaac. And then God brought a substitute, and later on Jesus comes to reveal himself as a Messiah to the whole world in the third temple on Mount Moriah. So this is a beautiful picture of how God just plans everything from Abraham to Moses to David, later on, from Abraham to David to Moses, then later on to Jesus. What an amazing thing. Sorry, I got my order wrong there. Abraham, Moses, David, Jesus. So these are the three concepts. Hopefully they will help you. And then I'll come back in another video to do the teaching of the lesson that hopefully will be good for you. So see you in a few minutes.